Good morning, good day, good night, whatever the case might be. Welcome to Edessa, the Dark Crusade. This night in Edessa, it's the same night as a very eventful and very dicey situation went down. The plague rats, or what seems to be originating, quite a few of them directing them, has been put to the sword. Quite a few Canaanites fought, and quite a few Canaanites were close to getting destroyed, or at least torpoured, but everyone seems to have made it out somewhat, well, in different number of pieces, but, well, they made it out. They're still existing. And two of which are Torvald and Madeline, who are making their way back, and Madeline is wearing a black cloak covering the armor that will probably noise, but it is in the middle of the night. There aren't that many people around, especially with the plague, but they might be walking carefully in the city, because a woman with a sword and plate mail of this type is not normal. But yeah, the two are making their way to Madeline's haven, or her abode, haven within Edessa. And she will just, it is right here. And she looks to Torvald. We made it home. That is good. And she opens the door, and you will notice that all three, at least three of her ghouls, are just almost they haven't been permitted to come with her. They almost like a dog waiting for its owner to come home. They're like you will hear the two monks will just call her, you will just hear softly, "Mother," as she opens the door, and they all three of them will just come over to her and just kind of the woman stops, but the two men are they have to just touch her or hug her. And oh, please, I am quite dirty. I have been in the catacombs, in the sewers. Please, prepare water. Prepare a bath for the both of us.
What is the female servant's name again?
Gutria.
Thorvald stops at the door. He stops outside the door. He says, Gutria, will you please prepare some bathing water and bring some sack bags here? Some of these clothes need to be destroyed.
Quite so. And the ghouls will just, you see the monks will just nod, but they seem to just, they were probably aware that something was about to go down. It's not every day Madeline has a sword and armor. So, yeah, they were justly concerned, but after a couple of moments, they will let go of her and will just begin, and she will just say, "Please, come inside, come."
Before he does, Thorvald takes off his boots and most of his armor. Because not only is it bloody, he was standing right next to the damn thing in corporeal form when it exploded.
Yeah.
So he's not going to take any chances with this plague. And
yeah, Madeline looks at him and just says, "Right, that monster, that Sinisi creation."
He's not going to take any chances with infecting the ghouls, and therefore he takes everything off.
Madeline kind of smiles at him, not suggestively, but just almost a little humorous. She's almost like she's laughing as Torvald just takes everything off.
He takes everything. He puts it when the bag is given to him. He asks to throw it to him. When he gets it, he puts the stuff in the bag, and he will dispose of the bag.
Yeah. You will there is a Madeline will just, if you don't know already, there is a place where you hide things. there's a lock on a door in the shed. Just hide that there for now. And as you get back, Madeline will just, the two or the three ghouls will be beginning to take off Madeline's armor, but she will just say, Torvald, do you have experience with helping a woman, well, off with her armor? And she seems a little uncertain.
I do.
Please, the three of you, prepare baths, soaps, water. We will need them. And they just nod and continue preparing things.
You could see Torvald crosses the threshold into the house, and the door is closed and secured behind him. And as he walks towards Madeline, you can see that he has some damage to his chest, where the rat's claws have dug into his flesh. But it doesn't seem to be bothering him at the moment, or at least he's not showing it. He approaches Madeline, and for the moment he seems to be quite concealed, different to his usual behaviour around Madeline, which is more affectionate and emotional. He seems to be quite sort of stoic as he sets about undoing the armour in the correct fashion. Haldron's first.
Yeah, you can tell that Madeline is a bit unsure of this situation. She puts down the sword. Like, you can tell that she probably knows how to handle it, but it's almost like maybe she doesn't want to, or it's like, this is really not something I should do. Like, this is either it's beneath me, or it's just like, this is probably not gonna look very good when I do this. Like, a bit too brutal. Like, you get like a bit of yeah, like she just puts the sword down, and she just, like, you get a sense of this, like, she's almost wobbling around when she's moving in the armor because she's not used to it. It's a little bit too, well, solid and giant for her, well, more subtle way.
He's deconstructing it with relative ease.
Hmm.
Seems like something he's done quite a lot of times.
Hmm. And after fighting to get out, um, Madeline will just stand in a very simple, a very, well, not a lot of clothes underneath because armor, but it is like one of her underclothes, black, and she will just say, "Come," and they will go to one of the back rooms, bigger rooms. There's water in two wooden, well, fairly big washing tubs. There is like a little bit of luxury. And Madeline takes off what she has on, and we'll just have she has Gutria bathe her,
You see,
and
Thorvald unceremoniously gets into the bath and completely submerges himself for a minute or two under the water. Being that vampires don't need to breathe, it's not really a problem.
hmm,
When he comes back up, he spends a willpower, and the blood that is left, he's healed some of the damage.
actually, before you do that, as you get up, and she will just look at you as she's being washed. Her hair is being washed quite thoroughly, and she'll just say, "Please, one thing you must do for me. Let that remain." She points to your chest.
He looks at his chest. It would please you.
She just looks at him with a smile, like as more water is poured on top of her, essentially. Embrace the pain.
He bows his head. And then he'll start with what's sort of maked for soap, I suppose. He rubs it into his beard and into his hair to make sure that none of the plague remains trapped in
Yeah,
there.
there is quite a lot of it will take a while. At some point, Gutria will offer to wash your hair. Well,
He politely declines. He's not used to having servants on him and finds the idea uncomfortable. Um, he's
you
fairly.
could tell that Gutria probably you can peony it, but it's a ghoul. But no, you can peony if you want to.
Mhm. Hang on. Find a dice roller.
Uh, dice roll a 1.
Mhm.
You get an impression that Gutria is. It wasn't Madeline's idea to for her to assist you, and she just seemed to be a little hesitant to move. Maybe she fancies the idea of cleaning you. Who knows?
He senses that and he goes, "You may assist me by holding these parts and working as I work the soap through, and then you can run the water over. It'll be quicker."
She just remembers herself, looks to Madeline, almost like she's not that good at hiding this. I will say, to say the least. And but she just like gets like wide-eyed for a second, looks at Madeline, but Madeline's just smiling at her and just nods, and she nods over back, and yeah, she seems to want to help you and assist you.
He does it. If there's any sort of pain he's experiencing, he doesn't seem to be showing it. He feels pain, but he's not the sort to show weakness. Yeah, how far apart are the baths?
They're pretty much next to each other.
After he's sort of more clean, he reaches over, um, sort of lightly runs his finger down Madeline's arm. Seems for a moment to come out of his battle stance and looks at her.
Good dress, boys, leave us. And the ghouls will just nod and leave the room. Madeline just looks at her. That was quite the engagement. We are indeed dealing with someone ancient. You said that one of the rats was directing the others. In
Yeah,
what sense was it directing?
it had sentience, thoughts, like a person.
Mother, take those and let's see. Who knows if it was a Kenite mixed into that? Close. Regardless, I helped. Everyone made it out. We have
He
thinned the population.
he runs his hand up her shoulder and to sort of her collarbone and to her jawline. Just, I'm glad you were not hurt.
She kind of gets up and gets over to his tub, and she just says, "You must not close it tonight. You must wear it as a mark of pride. This," and she touches the wound. She tucks at it a little bit. "This and all of the others," as she runs a hand down his torso. "5 of those beasts were at you. And Scylla was crumbling. I had to save one who fought well. I had to assist her. I had to lift her up as she was not devoured by those rats. But you took at 5 of them was biting, gnawing at you. You stood there. This is what all of these things, this wound, the hundreds of others, this is what they have made you. So strong that even Ancilla pale in comparison. And she is genuinely looking at you almost with not hunger, but amazement. Like you can almost tell it in her eyes. Like she's almost infatuated. I hope
Pain.
I did not disappoint myself.
He says he shakes his head. To her comments, he seems in a bit of a daze, sort of entranced by her voice almost, and he just says, "Pain has been my only true mother. Do not fear it." And you never disappoint me, Madeline.
She kisses him. The two of them will share that kiss for quite a while in the tub. And she will just say, "It was good that I was not hurt, but I do believe it is only fair." And she will just sit back, smile at him. One of her hands will grow the claws of protein too. And she will just look at you, and she will recreate the wound you have as best she can. Same place, she will just dig her fingers in and begin to rip herself open a bit. And I will, actually, this will hurt, so I will just roll this. Willpower.
I
Wow,
also
she pauses it. And actually, I should roll 142 dice. Nope, she doesn't soak it, but
I'm okay.
but yeah, like she does not. That is like she is almost like you were when you were attacked by the rats, not really showing anything, just taking it. The same way, like Madeline is just looks at you straight in the eyes, and you don't see her flinch as she just essentially doing an ag or two to herself. She's doing probably one ag, because I think you can control it when you do it to yourself. But let's just sake for it that she
Uh,
does.
yeah, Todd keeps eye contact with her. She does this. You see there's a slight flicker in his eyes. You can peony it if you want to. I passed my self control roll, so um,
I don't see anything.
you see it. You see the slight flicker, but you're not sure what it is. It could be any emotion. You,
Hmm.
when you finished cutting the marks, he stands out of the bath and he lowers himself because height difference is somewhat significant, and he'll have this sort of look in his eye of deep entrancement, deep fascination, and he presses his lips to the cuts you've just made.
She doesn't stop him.
And he stands fully again and just looks at her. What became of the others? I noticed when the room became emptier when I was finished with my combat.
Well, surprisingly enough, I got the Nosferatu who was trapped, as you saw, out of the, well, mostly out of the problem. She will regrow her legs, eventually. I will have to speak to the Nosferatu of them owing me perhaps a minor boon, but I did save one of their number. Margot was critically injured, barely holding on. Her armor was badly torn. But I managed to keep her out. That is why you were attacked by so many. I held her and Irene up to a place where they could not be attacked. But afterwards, well, I do believe there was a concerted effort to get people away. I do believe that Garnet and Joanna were escorted out earlier than that by a more unconventional means.
You must have had the faith that I could withstand being attacked all at once.
She looks at him, smiles. The knowledge that you would, or perhaps a combination of that and a test. And she just seems quite serious as she says that. Like, this was part of it. Every time I test you, you succeed beyond my dreams. It may have taken me 100 years to find a good student, a perfect student, but by the mother, you have proven to be perfect.
It's strange. Earlier on in the evening, I did something to protect you, and you put me through tests.
Of course I do. How are you to grow? How are you to become stronger? And how, most importantly, are you to control your beast if I do not do so?
I was afraid seeing you in combat would test my resolve, my.
Perhaps that should be the next test. I would willingly go into combat to see if you can stay away. See if you can do what I tell you, or what the situation commands.
He
Interesting.
he flinches slightly.
Now listen. For another night.
I
Something to
understand.
think of.
You know very well from when Lady Julia struck you. Beyond all measurable reason of my knowledge of your relationship with pain, it angers me.
It can. Anger. Perhaps it should. That is, many things anger us in this life. Many things anger me. She's about to say something, but then she stops. She just says, it's not a question of whether it angers us. It is whether or not we let the beast take us.
He looks at her curiously when she sort of stops her sentence.
And she doesn't seem to be on the verge of saying it. She just says, but I am so deeply proud of you.
He smiles. He lowers his head a little, sort of reflexively, in kind of a bowing motion.
She looks at the wound, looks at her own. And you just see her and she looks at it. She just, like, you see her fangs distend or begin to come out. She looks down at the wound and just looks at you. And she just shakes her head a little bit, just very slightly. Just the fangs go up again, and she just no.
What is it you want?
Bring you and myself even more pleasure,
But
the fact that we are not bound to each other is something that gives this. And she just touches him on the chest. More significance. And the powers of the blood are not something that binds us, and yet we are drawn to each other. I think that is precious. It means that we are totally and fully ourselves when we are with each other. We should, unless it is absolutely necessary. However might painful it may be for us. Another good way to test ourselves. Not do it. Despite however might we want to.
for a moment he looks a little bit like what's a great way of putting this? If you hold a bowl of food in front of a dog and then take it away.
Mm. But she seems to be quite serious.
He
Do you know why I think of this? It is because we want it. It is almost painful for us. And that is why we must resist.
he kind of makes this exhaling sound.
Oh, my poorest boy. There are other things we can do.
I know.
And she will just, have him follow her. And she will go up to the master bedroom. And she will just, make sure the ghouls are away, and she will just Let me just say. We still have some time before the sun rises. I'd say we make the most of it and enjoy the fact that we both made it out of there relatively unscathed. It means that we have full usage of well, everything.
In a rare turn of occasion, I mean, I'm not going to roll anything, but Thorvald will be rather visceral this time. Where he's usually quite content to let Madeline take the lead. She seems to have stirred something up in him, in the torturous of the denial.
And yeah, as you are that, I will. That's interesting because Madeline has actually. Oh wait, I shouldn't roll over. That should actually be. That is the wrong roll. It should be a. What would make sense in that? Because that would not be. I am sorry for this. I will just, just to inform my roleplay here. Hope you will excuse me.
This is where she just chops my head off or something.
No, it's
like a black widow.
no. She's good. It's a courage roll. As you will see that for a moment there is maybe she's just thinking of like stopping it, or she seems afraid, but it's a split second because as you probably like, well, it's just without describing it in too much detail.
How do we skirt around this?
Yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't say
take
that
control. Take control.
it wasn't. It's
She
not
just
violent, but
well, like let's just say as the scene is closing, Madeline seems to accept it and almost just be a little bit more passive than she normally is. She just seems to go with it more so than you would probably expect if someone were to be surprised by this. But let's not, yeah. And with that, I believe that this scene will come to a close. Thank you very much, players, for playing and watchers for watching. Good night.